From the dawn of powered flight in 1903 to the early fighter planes of the First World War, to the first passenger aircraft in the late 1920s, and the development of pressurized cabins in the 1940s, all the way up to today's modern jet aircraft, the aviation industry has grown and evolved at an extraordinary pace. Able to transport passengers safely across the globe in comfort, today's state-of-the-art passenger planes are prime examples of human ingenuity and progress. But all of this started with humble beginnings. Most early cockpits were open-air, loud and uncomfortable places to be, completely lacking in safety features, climate control, toilet facilities, or any of the creature comforts we associate with flying today. The first luxury airliner, built specifically to transport people, was the Ford Trimotor. It had an all-wood interior, cane back seats, plenty of windows, and a toilet, of sorts. The waste was expelled through a hole in the bottom of the plane. Even with these features, a long flight in a trimotor was never going to be a comfortable experience. It had to fly at low levels in turbulent skies because the lack of suitable materials for windows made the production of pressurized cabins impossible. But things didn't stay that way for long. With the invention of perspex, otherwise known as acrylic glass, in the 1930s, passenger airplanes started to resemble modern aircraft. Cabin pressurization allowed planes to fly above the weather, which provided a more comfortable experience, and the thinner air improved efficiency, range, and speed. In 1940, the Boeing 307 Stratoliner became the first commercially viable high-altitude passenger plane. This groundbreaking aircraft had 4 rows of seats, 3 on the starboard side and 1 on the port side of the cabin. It was equipped with 2 washrooms and a galley to provide hot food. Able to transport increasing numbers of passengers over long distances and in relative comfort, the introduction of aircraft like the 307 meant that the age of commercial passenger aviation had finally arrived. However, when adjusted for inflation, a flight from Los Angeles to Boston in 1941 would have cost well over $4,000 and taken over 15 hours to complete. So air travel was still very much the domain of wealthy jet-setters. Speaking of jet-setters, the next major evolution of air travel came about with the introduction of the jet engine. Although invented back in 1930, the first jet engine-powered passenger plane did not enter service until 1952. And it is the Boeing 707, which entered service in 1958, that became the first widespread commercial jet airliner. This aircraft is often credited with beginning the jet age. With seating for up to 219 passengers, a maximum range of 9,300 kilometers, and a cruising speed of up to 972 kilometers an hour, the promise of comfortable transatlantic passenger air travel had become a reality. The 707 had 6 rows of seating, 5 washrooms, overhead storage shelves, and a large galley. Safety features included up to 4 emergency exits, life vests, and oxygen masks. The cabins of today's modern airliners, such as the Airbus A380, are remarkably comfortable places to be. Even by modern standards, the cabin of an A380 is exceptionally quiet. At cruising speeds, it's 23 decibels quieter than a 707. This means that a flight in a 707 would sound 4 times as loud as it would in an A380. The cabin air is filtered once every 2 minutes, and the cabin pressure is maintained at an equivalent altitude of 1,520 meters, which is 880 meters lower than previous aircraft. This decreases fatigue and headaches, reduces ankle swelling, and lowers the risk of medical emergencies. Its wide-body double-decker design provides for an incredibly spacious interior, with wider seats, higher ceilings, and larger overhead compartments. High-tech LED lighting in the cabin changes color according to the time of day, allowing it to simulate a sunrise or sunset, the bright white of a sunny day, or the warm glow of a summer evening. These lighting effects can help maintain normal wake-sleep cycles and reduce jet lag. The upper deck offers first-class travelers extra-large washrooms, featuring benches, large mirrors, sit-down vanity counters, urinals, and luxurious toilets. Some operators even offer onboard showers. Ultra-luxury layouts of the A380 have spacious bars and lounges, private rooms with ensuite bathrooms, and they even offer breakfast in bed. It's not just the comfort levels that have improved over the last century of passenger flight. Remarkable progress has been made to the safety of air travel. Flying in the early days of aviation was hazardous, to say the least. Although safety had improved by the middle of the century, it was still relatively risky to fly. Fast forward to today, and air travel is by far the safest form of transportation. For distance traveled, it is 62 times safer than driving, and 1,084 times safer than walking. Much of this has to do with improved aircraft performance and reliability, but huge strides have been taken to reduce serious injuries and fatalities when a rare accident occurs. Modern, fireproof airliner seats are designed to withstand 16 times the force of gravity, greatly reducing injuries on impact. Seatbelts are now being equipped with airbags to help prevent serious head injuries in a crash. Extremely sensitive smoke detectors and fire suppression systems help to eliminate the threat of fire. First aid devices, including defibrillators, are provided for medical emergencies. LED lighting is designed to help guide passengers to the exit doors in case of an emergency. And flotation devices are provided in case of water landings. In the event of depressurization, canisters above each seat containing sodium chlorate, barium peroxide, and potassium perchlorate begin to mix, creating oxygen for the deployed masks. You might think of emergency exits as being simple doors that you're told not to open, but in reality, they're complex devices that include inflatable evacuation slides that deploy in about 5 seconds and can evacuate an entire aircraft in under 90 seconds. Although it's unlikely that the average passenger will ever experience these safety features in action, it's comforting to know that talented engineers have been working behind the scenes to make air travel safer than it has ever been. Air travel will continue to evolve as new technologies and materials are developed. Cabins will be even quieter with active noise reduction. They will also be incredibly spacious feeling, providing panoramic views of the outside world. Augmented reality will be shown on the walls, with interactive displays presenting information about the landmarks and geography on the surface below. Morphing seats will offer greater adjustability, be more comfortable, and self-cleaning. High-tech, digitally configurable spaces will provide passengers with a variety of leisure and business activities, including escape rooms, sports simulators, movie theaters, or conference rooms. Passengers will leave the aircraft feeling revitalized and enriched. As you have seen, air travel has come a long way since the early days of flight. From the terrifying, loud, open-air cockpits of the 1920s and 30s, to the first pressurized cabins of the 1940s, and from the first passenger jets of the 1950s, all the way to the safe, quiet, and comfortable spaces of today's modern aircraft. But in many ways, this journey has only just begun. Talented engineers, designers, IT specialists, and technicians are working together to create the innovative passenger planes of the future, turning today's imagination into tomorrow's reality.